I'm a 29-year-old guy, just got married last night, and I'm completely shattered. I have to vent this somewhere because I feel like I'm losing my mind. Our wedding day was like a fairy tale. I wore my tux, she wore a gorgeous white dress, friends and family were there, the whole 9 yards. Ever since my fiancé and I got engaged, I was so excited. I daydreamed about our perfect honeymoon, about waking up next to my beautiful bride every morning. Her eyes sparkled like she was my whole world, and I truly believed she was my future. But then, last night, on our wedding night, everything fell apart in a way I never saw coming. It started innocently enough. We were in our hotel room after the reception, just sipping champagne and soaking in the fact that we were now husband and wife. I could feel the love and happiness buzzing around us. I remember sitting on the edge of the bed, running my fingers through her hair, and she smiled at me and told me she loved me more than ever. There was no hint of trouble. The lights were dim, music playing softly in the background. I was tired, but so content. Everything seemed perfect. Then she set down her glass, took a deep breath, and said, "We need to talk. I have something I have to tell you." My heart skipped a beat. Why would she say something like that now? It was our wedding night. This was the day we'd been waiting for. I tried to laugh it off, but the look in her eyes was serious. She told me to sit down and listen. That's when the world shifted on its axis. She started speaking in a quiet, trembling voice, one confession after another. First, her body count. "I want to be totally honest with you," she said. "The number of people I've been with, I just went to count, and it's 72. 72. My brain short-circuited. I remember my heartbeat just stopped for a moment as I stared at her. 72. It felt like 1,000 years had passed as I tried to wrap my head around it. All those nights she smiled at me, all the trust I had, and there it was, shattered by a single number. 72. I managed to whisper, my voice shaking. I saw tears welling up in her eyes. "I know it sounds like a lot," she said, "and I know it's hard to hear, but I want you to know everything before we go further." My mind was racing. Why didn't she tell me this sooner? Why now? This was our wedding night. Why drop a bomb like that? I remember feeling a mix of outrage and confusion. My chest felt tight. I tried to steady my breathing and asked her, "What do you mean, 72? Are you serious?" She nodded, biting her lip. I felt my blood boil a little, but tried to stay calm. I had to know more. I needed answers. She took another deep breath and continued, voice quivering. "I know we talked about our pasts a bit, but I didn't tell you everything. I should have. You deserved honesty. I've been with people you wouldn't believe." My eyes widened. What was she getting at? That's when she dropped the next revelation. Something that made the champagne in my belly try to crawl its way up. "I've been intimate with a cousin," she said quietly. "First cousin." It felt like I was punched in the gut. Her cousin? The room started spinning. I saw her face clearly, but couldn't seem to hear anything else for a second. My mind tried to make sense of it. "Wait, what?" I stammered, my voice rising. "You what?" She nodded slowly. "I'm sorry. It was years ago. We were younger. We were both adults. But I'm so sorry. I should have told you." I was appalled and sickened. A cousin is family. How could I have missed that, or how could she have hidden that from me? My brain felt like it was frying itself, trying to reconcile the woman I married with this revelation. I felt betrayed, disgusted, heartbroken all at once. I got up and started pacing the tiny hotel suite, struggling to catch my breath. I think I muttered something like, "Why are you telling me this now, on our wedding night?" She stood up too, tears in her eyes, trying to explain. "We never had any more than that one time, I swear. It just happened and it ended. I never told anyone else, not even my best friend. But I can't start our marriage with secrets." I didn't know what to say. I felt my wedding ring on my finger burning a hole into my soul. I remember gripping the dresser so tight that I almost thought I'd knock it over. I was shaking with anger. That's crazy," I managed to say, voice low with anger. "I thought I knew you. How could I not know this? Our families. How is that even legal?" She shook her head, sorry and scared. I know it was stupid, illegal maybe. It was a stupid mistake when we were young. It doesn't change how much I love you or anything." Her voice trailed off. I backed away, heart pounding. The room felt smaller all of a sudden. I ran my hands through my hair. I've got to stay calm. This is my wife, but I didn't know her anymore. I just kept staring at her, wondering how badly her secrets cut. We had strangers as family members, everyone at the wedding. Suddenly, before I could even process that, she took a shaky step closer and said something that broke me even more. There's more. There's something else. I need you to know, before we live as husband and wife, I've slept with my ex-boyfriend's father. I felt a hot wave of nausea. I remember an outburst. Excuse me? It came out all venomous. She nodded, eyes filling with tears, as if she was expecting me to hate her already, which I already did, but more than a little afraid of what was next. It happened once. I was alone, drunk, and he was there. I didn't plan it, I'm so sorry. I never told him even. She was sobbing softly by now, and I could barely focus. My hands curled into fists as it sank in. Her ex's father. I felt something inside me boil with rage. That man was probably in his 50s or 60s, as far as I knew. The father of my bride? My actual grandfatherly or fatherly figure in her mind? It felt disgusting. "What the hell is wrong with you?" I screamed. I was pacing, the conversation spiraling out of control. "I just married my wife, and I find out she almost slept with old men now?" I nearly shouted. People could hear us. Outside the door, I imagined my in-laws and guests talking and laughing, and here we were, my wedding night. She cried harder. "I know it's awful," she said. I was ashamed, and I wanted to forget it. I never thought you'd find out. It's just, I wanted to be honest with you. I thought you had the right to know before we were truly together forever. I stood there stunned, wiping my eyes. Tears, anger, humiliation all mixed up. How could she betray me like this? The honeymoon ruiners. We hadn't even gotten to the next bombshell. She took another breath, hands trembling on the nightstand. "There's more," she sobbed. "I was with an Uber driver." I blinked, confused. "What do you mean, was with an Uber driver?" My voice was shaky with disbelief. My knees felt like jello. She turned to face me head on. "I know it sounds insane. I was angry once, after a fight with my old boyfriend, and this poor guy was driving me home. One thing led to another. It was a drunk, one-time thing. It should have never happened." She looked genuinely horrified at herself. For some reason, the combination of details made me want to laugh and cry simultaneously. My mind pictured the scenario in the bland hotel-lit room, which made it so much more real. "Your Uber driver?" I asked, my voice so cold I shocked myself. "You mean the guy who gives you rides for a living?" She nodded miserably, tears streaming down her face now. "Yes. I'm so sorry. It was impulsive. I was stupid. And he promised it wouldn't happen again." I ended it immediately. The memories of us hugging after the ceremony, smiling, fade as I process that. The same face she gave me yesterday after our first dance had just admitted something like that. I couldn't handle it. I honestly didn't think it could get worse, I muttered to myself, still angry and trying to understand. "What the hell is wrong with you?" It was rhetorical, but I couldn't help but ask. She was quiet for a moment, trembling. Then, as if trying to get every secret out at once before it was too late, she gathered her courage and confessed the last piece. "I slept with John's husband last year. Our friend John, the guy I've known since college." That revelation hit like a train. John's husband. John's married husband. Not John's ex. John's current husband. Our friend. It's one thing to have had a wild past. It's another to have slept with the spouse of someone we both know. I feel my heart literally dropping through my shoes, all the color drained from my face. I think I actually slid down to sit on the edge of the bed at that point, trying to digest every word that was being thrown at me. My mind was reeling so fast. Friend's husband. Friend who was at the wedding. The guy who gave an awkward hug to my new bride right before dinner. My best friend John. She stood in front of me, crying, guilt-ridden. I was an absolute idiot. I know it's unforgivable, but John and I, it happened over the summer. I ended it when he admitted he was still in love with John. I swore it off as soon as I realized how wrong it was. But I couldn't tell you. I was ashamed and scared. I couldn't breathe. The room was spinning. Everything I thought I knew about her, my friend, our entire relationship, was completely upended. I tried to speak, but nothing came out. My hands were shaking uncontrollably. I felt a sharp pain in my chest, heartbreak, embarrassment, fury all at once. The words devastated and betrayed played on repeat in my head. "All of this," I said, voice cracking, tears in my own eyes despite myself. "All of this was supposed to stay secret?" I demanded, feeling something inside me break. My body felt weightless with shock. "All this time you're married to me tomorrow?" We're about to sign our marriage license, and you tell me you slept with, literally, my cousin? I pointed a shaking finger at her. She was sobbing, nodding. I had to tell you, I couldn't lie anymore. I know I destroyed everything. She looked completely wrecked. I swallowed hard. How did it come to this? Less than 24 hours ago, I was walking down the aisle, looking at the woman I loved. Now I was staring at a stranger I didn't even recognize anymore. My soul felt like it was being shredded into a million pieces by each detail she had just confessed. A mix of anger and sorrow washed over me. I felt tears sting my eyes, and they weren't just anger tears. I was truly hurt. I whispered, "I don't even know who you are." Suddenly, she ran to me. In a panic, she threw herself into my arms, wrapping her arms around me tightly, sobbing. Her face was buried in my shoulder. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I wanted to tell you before I hurt you more. I love you. I love you, and I want to be with you." I stood there, feeling her tears dampen my tucks, feeling myself being suffocated by regret and confusion. I felt more numb than angry at that point, as if I was hearing this from far away. I could hardly register her apology or her tears. All I could feel was a searing pain. We just stood there in a silent, tearful embrace for a long moment. The soft music from earlier on the speaker had stopped, and you could probably hear our heartbeats. Eventually, I gently removed her arms from around me. "Where do you even go from here?" I asked quietly. But I was screaming inside. "Why would you do this? How? Why now? Was I supposed to just move past that?" She looked up at me with tear-stained cheeks and whispered, "I don't know. I didn't expect you to react this way." Her voice trailed off. I backed away slowly. My knee hit the nightstand and I grabbed it for support. "No, I'm reacting exactly the way anyone would react to this," I said, more calmly than I felt. "I feel like my trust just got shot to hell. We are supposed to be married now. How can I ever look at you the same way again?" She started crying uncontrollably, and then said something that shattered the tiny bit of composure I had left. "Everything I told you is the truth. I just want you to know who I really am. I don't want secrets. But if it's too much..." I cut her off, my voice raised through tears and anger. "Too much? You think it's too much for me after you dumped all of this on me on our wedding night?" I threw my hands into the air. I felt overwhelmed, spinning between heartbreak and fury. I could barely breathe. My eyes flicked around the room frantically like a trapped animal. Finally, unable to stay in the toxic silence any longer, I stomped towards the door. I was beyond furious and devastated. She screamed after me, "Please, don't walk away!" But I was already halfway out. I slammed the door behind me and left the poor sobbing woman alone in our hotel room. Meryl, UP date. I'm sitting now on the bed in the guest room. The one I told a friend I was crashing at, thank God he's here, and was willing to drive in the middle of the night when I called. I haven't even changed out of my tux. I'm too exhausted and numb to think about it. Everything that happened on what was supposed to be the best day of my life is still flickering through my mind like a horrible movie. We didn't get married. When I left the room, I went to the hotel bar, downed some whiskey, and had to calm myself enough to think straight. I realized there was no way I could ever look at her the same again. I felt completely betrayed. I couldn't just go back and pretend like I heard nothing, so I called off the rest of the wedding. My fiancée is still in that hotel room back at the Altar Hotel. I couldn't face her after hearing those words. By the time I got back, my shirt was soaked through from crying. This morning, I filed for an annulment before even contacting her. I'm not interested in a divorce, yet I don't think legally we even had a marriage since the papers were never signed, but it's over. I won't ever marry her, and we're going our separate ways. I moved all of my things into storage and flew back home with a heavy heart. I came straight here to my parents' house. They're worried sick about me. I haven't talked to her again since this morning. I can't even see her face without my stomach turning, and I don't even know where I would begin. I've thought about talking to the people involved. My cousin, John, the Uber driver. I actually feel bad for him if this is true. I don't know his name, though. But honestly, it's too much. Right now, I just want to take care of myself and try to heal from this betrayal. I feel a weird sense of numbness. At times I feel angry and want to scream, and at other times I just cry in private. A part of me is thankful she told me before we were actually officially married and before we consummated anything. I know I dodged a massive bullet. The other part of me is broken. I can't believe I spent years with someone and had absolutely no idea about any of this. I haven't reached out to the cousin or John yet. I'm not sure I will, to be honest. Part of me feels like I should confront them, but another part of me is so drained that I just want to heal and move on. Probably better to just put all of this behind me eventually and not dig deeper into it. Right now, my support system, my parents, siblings, and close friends are here for me. I might go to therapy. I think I'm going to need it after this. I never thought something like this could happen, especially not from the woman I thought I would spend the rest of my life with. It feels so surreal. I married a stranger last night, and today I'm telling a stranger my life story on the internet because I'm desperate to feel heard. Thanks for reading this mess. I still can't believe I have to move on from this, but I know I will. I'll probably be on here sometimes to vent or if I need advice. Right now, I'm just going to focus on myself and start over. Hopefully, with time, I'll be able to trust again and find someone deserving of trust and love.